on today's all-new Total Recall with Jasper and Friends.
And from the crowd, the neighbor does yell.
The neighbor goes like,
"Did you kill your wife, Ben?" Not Ben,
No.
Nick.
Google right now Ben Affleck back tattoo,
Oh,
and just
crazy.
I want to record your reaction live to seeing it for the first time.
Oh my god! What the fuck is that?
That's how people feel about you and me, Jasper.
Oh, is it?
I'm gonna throw up.
So sit back, relax, and
I've been working on the show too long. Just trying to write a parody song. 'Cause season 1 is dead and gone. Girl.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to season 2 of Total Recall with Jasper and Friends. God, that feels good to say. It has been 109 days since the last regular episode of the show. And while I apologize for my lengthy absence, there were a few things I need to take care of first. First and foremost, I had to experience the Robbie Williams biopic Better Man in theaters. And much less importantly, I needed time to fall in love with today's guest. Returning for her second appearance, she is a devout Dawn Staley stan and a devoted Sunday fan. Splitter of G's, knitter accomplished, a box of paraseed popcorn, hates to see her coming. It's Madeline!
Oh my god, what an intro.
What an intro.
Thanks for having me back for season 2.
Well, I had to have you back because, as you could probably tell from the intro, Madeline and I are dating now.
What a development in the off season.
Yes, in the off, in between when Madeline and I talk trap and when we're here to talk Gone Girl, we made out a bunch.
To be fair, it was pretty obvious, like, listening to the trap episode. If
Yes.
you had a brain.
You're not the only
And
listener who
ears.
felt that way, Kate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Funny backstory here is that I refused to make a move until after we recorded because I was worried that if I did make a move, I would mess up my podcast.
Not the
Which
pod.
shows you where my priorities were
Wow.
at that time and
Madeline,
place.
how do you
It was
feel
for-
about that?
I feel like that was for the best.
Yeah.
It needed a slow burn a bit. And also, unfortunately, as embarrassing as anything can be, is that the podcast was part of the reason that I decided I liked Jasper. So
Wow.
I'm-
We talked about this.
Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, I love the podcast so much. It's great. It's so fun.
He was
So-
like, "Can you believe it?" And I was like, "No, actually, I can't."
Speaking of, Madeline and I are recalling Gone Girl with the help of our intern. We will talk about what interns are in a second. Making her season 2 debut and appearing for a record 4th time overall, it's Kate.
Woo! You guys sick of me yet? Kidding.
Kate, have you seen Gone Girl?
Oh, I sure have.
Okay.
I sure have.
Well, in just a few minutes, Madeline and I are going to attempt to spoil all of it for you. But in the meantime, I'm going to kind of explain what you're doing here.
Great. 'Cause I don't know.
So, season 2 is going to be more or less the same thing, but there are a couple of changes. The first is that we have interns. Interns will be taking notes while the contestants and I are recalling the plot. So we will not be referencing a doc you guys cannot see anymore, and we will not be taking notes so you don't hear the clickety-clack of keyboards as we record. Kate will be as a participant in this episode. So if Madeline wins round 1 and she is the top scorer, Kate and Madeline will both receive cookies.
Wow.
So they are in this together.
yes,
Let's fucking go.
let's go.
Let's go.
Interns are not
I'm locked
directly
in.
competing against contestants in round 1. So people will come back who are contestants or interns. Kate will be back later in the season for her episode as well. That brings us to the format of this season, which is a tournament.
I'm so scared.
There will
Of the
be
voices that are happening.
I'm
or
scared of everything.
The process.
Kate's scared. I'm having a great time. The podcast is back. The first round is 20 episodes, and these are movies I have hand selected to kick off the season. So these are all JP picks. I sent them to a group of friends, and I let them all pick a first, second, and third choice. I matched everybody up with their top choices, and now we're here doing this. To advance to round 2, you will need a score of 70% based off of the Wikipedia recap. In the second round, the contestants will pick the movies. So they will make me watch anything they choose. So they can be sadistic about it and make me watch something terrible, or they can show me a piece of cinema that they really value and they feel important to. That is up to them.
I'm
The
gonna
top-
make you watch A Star Is Born.
Which one?
I just want to take another
I don't want to take another look at you. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, if we do A Star Is Born, I will be doing a Bradley Cooper impression the entire
Obviously.
time.
Obviously.
If contestants move on from that, we will move on to a franchise. Franchise TBD, but the top 8 of contestants pick will move on, and we will do 8 successive entries of a franchise, such as Mission Impossible or Harry Potter or Fast and the Furious.
Gosh.
The top 3 entries in that round will move on to the final, which will be a blind guess in which top 3 people will tell us what they think will happen in a movie. Then that group will go see that film in theaters, and then we'll come back and see who was closest.
Oh my
And then
God.
whoever wins that is the champion, and they will receive a prize TBD.
I'm so excited for that final round. I did not do well the first season, though, so I'm worried about moving on past the first round.
Which
of
was
this.
shocking because I thought you did good when
That-
I listened to it.
I will tell you, the movie Trap, limited plot. So
Yeah.
it's not my fault.
Yeah,
Anyway.
she fell into a trap. Okay, with all that being said, I'm getting booed on my own podcast. With all that being said, it is time to move on to Madeline's softball question. Madeline, one of the key pieces of evidence in Gone Girl's central mystery is Amazing Amy's diary. So my question for you is this. Do you/did you ever keep a diary? And if so, is there anything at all in there that would assist the authorities in a potential homicide investigation?
This is a funny question. I love a journal. Like, I love the physical book. Hate writing in it. Like, I cannot sit down and, like, actually spend time in it. I will buy one, write 5 entries, move on to a new journal.
I love the concept
Wow.
of a journal.
I have stacks of them that they're not even remotely filled. It's insane. So no, I think if anything, they would just reveal that I have always been just extremely angsty. But only once every 6 months I check in and I dump the angst and then I buy a new journal and then I'm out. Like,
How many journals do you think you've bought like in your life?
25.
So many
Easy.
journals.
Hard number.
That's
Wait,
my
are
number.
are you making journal entries, Jasper?
No,
No.
I'm
Look at
no,
him. No,
no.
absolutely not.
Some would say this has kind of become a journal
I
entry.
would say I think that you verbalize most of one of your thoughts
Yeah.
to someone.
Madeline
one
likes
of the
to
two of
say
us at least.
that I usually just start talking,
You do. You're talking.
just jabbing.
Am I wrong
Just,
about that? Is
no,
that
it's
so?
just words.
He just he
words
has stuff to
sometimes.
say.
And like I really is this like a pot calling the kettle black situation. Like I'm the same way. So sometimes it's just like we're talking at each other and we're not really listening to the other. We're just trying to talk.
Yeah, K-Steves and I are known for sitting on that couch having 2 separate conversations while no one else is here.
And no one's listening to the other person. Yeah.
Exactly, and I won't embarrass either of us anymore. So we'll move on to some movie facts in context. So, Gone Girl is a 2014 psychological thriller starring
2014.
Ben Affleck, Rosamund Pike, no relation, Neil Patrick Harris, Carrie Coon, and Tyler Perry. It was written by Gillian Flynn, or Gillian Flynn, do we
I
know?
think it's Jillian.
I think it's
Jillian?
The
Gillian
author.
Flynn, and directed by David Fincher. Yes, the author. It was based on the book of the same name.
Such a good book.
Great
Banger of a book. Sharon Graves' recommendation to me,
Oh,
actually.
fun.
It's yeah.
I'm sure that my mother recommended it to me as well.
It's back here somewhere. Development of the movie began in 2011 when Reese Witherspoon, better known around these parts as Bradley Jackson, Bradley Jackson, she went to space, read the then unpublished manuscript and immediately bought the adaptation rights with an eye on taking on the lead role herself.
Oh.
It turned out to be quite the coup for Witherspoon, as the novel took off when it was released in 2012, selling more than 2 million copies in its first year, a number bested that year only by 50 Shades of Grey and The Hunger Games.
What a year for literature.
Kind of banger year
So-
for books. Yeah, what's up?
Reese was gonna be Amazing Amy. She wanted
Yes.
to be. No,
That's crazy.
Absolutely not.
It's fully nuts.
No,
Yeah.
that's a no.
But
Good
this was
try,
like
Reese.
this was kind of so Reese's company, Hello Sunshine, at this point was like a
It was like their fledgling.
this was like a thing where it's like
years.
she spotted this book early, bought the rights, and then it was like, does Reese have good taste in books? And now she's like trying
She
to do an
does.
And
Oprah
the
thing.
answer, I think, is probably
I
yes.
think she really does.
She has some misses.
Yeah, she
Is
had
it
some
Hello
misses.
Sunshine? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Hello Sunshine.
I don't understand the name behind. Sure. You know what?
At Reese, tell Kate what you mean by the name, and
Yeah.
then keep working on the morning show. You're doing great stuff.
Hey Reese, if you're listening, I just reach out to me. You can follow me on Instagram, whatever. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
Casey
here.
Fever.
I'm here. Casey Fever.
Because the novel was such a success, Flynn negotiated with 20th Century Rights for the right to adapt her own book. The studio fully expected to replace her with a more seasoned screenwriter down the line, as is tradition with these kinds of deals. But when director David Fincher came along and read Flynn's draft, he insisted she see the project through until the end.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. We
Yeah.
love David Fincher. So let's talk a little bit about Fincher. The man
David Fincher.
is one of our greatest living directors, churning out banger after banger after banger for the better part of 3 decades now.
Wow.
He is an exacting, precise artist known for shooting dozens upon dozens of takes of each scene. He's also known for his central philosophy towards people, which is, quote, I think people are perverts, unquote.
Yeah, every David
Okay.
Fincher movie falls
Yeah.
in that
If
bucket.
you think about it, this is the guy who made Fight Club and Zodiac and
I never saw those.
7?
Seven.
Oh,
Yeah.
7 is such a David Fincher, you fucked up little guy. What the hell, dude?
He also did that Michael Douglas movie, The Game, that we watched.
What's in the box?
And What's in the Box? What's in the box?
What's in the box?
The thing about
The
What's in the
Game is really good.
the thing about What's in the Box, I saw 7 recently at the Paris, and that scene has been parodied over and over and over again for the better part of like 2 decades now, and it should not work anymore because you know what's coming, and yet it is devastating, it is heartbreaking, and it's also just like, fuck, Brad Pitt
One of our
is
best
such a good
actors.
actor.
I wish he didn't suck as a person.
I do
No,
too.
You know?
you got to separate the art from the artist with that one.
Madeline,
Unfortunately,
I am famously bad at doing that.
He's simply too good.
Who is the other guy in that one?
In 7,
In 7.
Morgan
Freeman.
Freeman.
It is Morgan Freeman.
And then the other guy in it
Yes.
is Kevin Spacey. So we're going to move on.
Yep.
It was Fincher who approached Ben Affleck to lead Gone Girl, and he wanted to do it because he used the audience's preconceived notions about Ben to deepen the role. Said Fincher, quote, the baggage he comes with, he referring to Ben, is most useful to this movie. I was interested in him primarily because I needed someone who understood the stakes of this kind of public scrutiny that Nick is subjected to and the absurdity of trying to resist public opinion. Ben knows that, not conceptually, but by experience. If you read in between the lines there, he's also kind of saying, I mean, look at him. He looks like an asshole who cheats on his wife.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I also think the chin thing, which we will get into, is such a good read on Ben Affleck as well.
For sure.
We'll talk about it.
Oh, there's like something in the movie about his chin
Yes.
being.
We'll get there.
We will absolutely get there.
It's up there in my.
And now
top
for
20.
Madeline's favorite fun fact, which she will probably get into more deeply than I. David Fincher and Ben Affleck did have one fight on the film
fight.
Gone Girl. Do you want to do this?
I don't know this.
Oh, this is a good one.
Hell yeah.
Ben Affleck, famously from the city of Boston,
Beantown.
obsessed with Boston.
Loves Boston.
And
Fuck ya,
also,
can have it,
like,
yeah.
it's
Pretty
so
good.
much a
Thanks.
yeah, pretty good. It's so much part of his identity that for the character of Nick Dunn, who was a New Yorker and supposed to be like a huge Yankees fan in the books,
Mm-hmm.
he was supposed to wear a Yankees ball cap at one point in the movie, and Ben Affleck said, "Absolutely not. You know how much shit I will get for that forever if I show up in a Yankees ball cap on a movie."
Yeah.
And so instead, at one point in the movie, he does wear a Mets ball cap.
Yes.
Which is, it's
It was
so
one of the,
silly.
It was the black one when he's at the
It's the
when
black
he's at
one
the airport. Yes.
with the orange and blue logo, and
It's
it
a
doesn't
Mets
make
hat
any
that's
sense at
supposed
all.
to look like a Yankees hat. And I think it's a good
It's crazy.
It's a good illustration of both these two men because Ben Affleck is so aware of how he's perceived publicly that he's like, yo, I cannot wear a Yankee hat. And David Fincher is so precise in what he wants from his films. He's like, if you change this fucking hat, this whole thing's ruined.
But
Yeah.
that's the reason that he cast Ben Affleck in the first place, is that Affleck is this guy with a reputation to uphold.
Yeah.
And
He's
Yeah.
got the public opinion.
They
the
worked
public
it
eyes
out.
on him.
They did work it out. Interestingly, Gone Girl is sandwiched between Affleck's Oscar-winning directorial effort Argo in 2012
Great movie.
and his ill-fated run as Bruce Wayne in the hilariously titled Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Was he? Wait. He was Bruce Wayne.
Oh, you missed this whole thing?
What?
What a life you live.
Where the fuck was I? Alive?
Doing-
Was
We
I
gotta watch the
alive?
movies, Kate.
No,
Yeah.
Kate, you can skip the whole Snyderverse. It doesn't matter. It's bad.
What?
So when Henry Cavill was Superman,
I do remember this.
he was Bruce.
Is he
this
gay
was when
now? Is he the gay one?
Henry Cavill?
Who's the one who's gay?
Henry Cavill's straight as fuck.
Who's the one who was fucking Jonathan Bailey in that one movie?
Oh,
Matt
and-
Bomer.
Oh, is he gay now?
He's been gay.
No, but like
He's been gay since White
like,
Collar,
he's
fam.
like out.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he was out at White Collar. too.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Audience, forgive me.
forgive Kate.
I live under a rock.
So it's a similar kind of pattern for Ben throughout his whole career. He does like a passage of good stuff, and then he does some utter crap for like 5 years, and then he reclaims himself with good stuff. And he kind of does this over and over and over again.
Yeah.
He's just a man.
Yeah, he's just a boy standing in front of a Jennifer. Gone Girl also marked David Fincher's third collaboration with Madeline Faves, Trent Reznor, and Atticus Ross.
Oh my guys, I love them so
Who are
much.
they?
They are the
They're from-
composers, famous from their days of Nine Inch Nails.
Okay.
But they've done the soundtrack for this. They've done the soundtrack for Challengers,
The Social Network.
The Social Network.
Oh.
Um,
Oh.
Bangers of scores. So
Tons of
Social Network.
Fincher was inspired by a visit to his chiropractor of all things for the music. Said Reznor, quote, David was at the chiropractor and heard this music that was inauthentically trying to make him feel okay, and that became a perfect metaphor for this film. The challenge was, simply, what is the musical equivalent of the same sort of facade of comfort and feeling of insecurity that this music represented? His priority aim was to instill doubt and to remind you that things aren't always what they seem to be. And so that's kind of what the score is. It feels like a score, but it's like a little bit different, and you're always kind of on edge, kind of like this movie's always feeling you kind of on edge.
So true.
Gone Girl comes out on October 3rd, 2014, and grosses a stunning $370 million worldwide. It is also, in my opinion, kind of the best Ben Affleck role
I agree.
ever.
Hardcore.
I don't think I've seen enough movies with him in it to
Apparently, you
actually
missed
say that.
Batman.
I missed Batman. I didn't see The Town.
Oh, I do really love The Town. That's a good
I
one.
haven't. Yeah, I
Whose
haven't
car
seen
we
that
taking?
one.
She doesn't know
I
that.
don't
She doesn't know what's
what
going
the fuck
on.
are you talking
Kate,
about? dude?
I just want you to know you and I are on Whose Car We Taking level. Here
Yeah.
we go.
You guys are.
Okay, but now
Is
that we've
that
got that
bad?
taken care, no, that's
No, it's
great.
good.
Okay.
Now that we've done all that and confused Kate to no end, it is time to play Total Recall.
Help, guys.
Kate, you are our intern. Today, it is your job to take notes as Madeline and I recall the plot. We will endeavor to do so in a manner that is easy to follow. But if at any point you are confused, lost, tired, hungry, or just miss the sound of your own voice, you can call.
Me? What?
Yeah, what do you
Oh,
call?
What? Cut. Or just stop.
Either works. When you yell, cut, the clock will stop. You will take your hands off the keyboard, and we will have a minute to sort out the confusion.
Oh my god, only a minute? Ugh.
You will be allowed 3 cuts per episode, so use them wisely, and I'll be monitoring the doc as you type to make sure you're not missing big things. Do you understand these rules as I've explained them to you?
I do. I want to say I was a really good intern back in 2017
For
Get
Bleep
your
Jerry.
real job.
for Bleep Jerry, which also bleep you guys. 'Cause you said you were gonna hire me, and you didn't, and you really fucked me. So
Take that.
Screw
they really
you
bleeped
guys.
you. Madeline, you and I will have 30 minutes to describe the plot of Gone Girl as best we can remember, a movie we watched a month ago. When we're finished, we will compare our summary to Wikipedia's. Just like last year, each plot point is worth a maximum of 2 points. New this season, each correct character name is an additional point of extra credit.
Let's go. Huge for me.
Huge for Madeline.
Huge.
If you earn 70% of the total points available, you will move on to round 2 and force me to watch and recall a film of your choosing. Do you understand these rules as I've explained them to you?
I do, and I am ready.
She is ready. Everyone is ready. As always, the team with the highest score at the end of round 1 will receive 24 cookies, courtesy of Mom in the Mail. Okay, for the first time this season, let's get 30 minutes on the clock. Thank you very much. And the countdown starts in 3, 2. Okay, Gone Girl. Where do we want to start? What do we remember?
Okay, we are in Missouri.
Missouri.
We're driving down the road, and Ben Affleck, Nick Dunn in
Nick
this
Dunn.
movie, pulls off and goes into a bar titled The Bar.
Oh, pause. The bar.
You can't pause yourself.
We got to take a step back to say that was when I was reading this book,
That's when
I
you
was
lock
like,
in.
fuck, that's really smart naming your bar The Bar.
The Bar.
But
yes.
it's also indicative of how kind of lazy and pathetic Nick Dunn is. Okay, keep going.
Oh, for sure. Behind the bar is Carrie Coon playing
Legend.
Nick Dunn's twin, Margot Dunn, who is referred to throughout the rest of the movie as Go, which I think is a perfect name and nickname for her. And also,
Are you
she's
s-
wonderful.
Are
I
you
love her
looking at me
so
like
much.
that because I haven't come up with my nickname for you yet?
Exactly. I love Go. She's great, and she is she's fed up with her brother all the time. Like from the jump, she's over his
Kind of the
nonsense.
opposite of you and Patty.
Yeah, exactly. She's the distressed version of me.
Mm.
And
Would you and Patty ever open a bar together?
I wish he would. If he said he was interested in that, we would do it
I
for
think
sure.
you guys would do great at that.
I
to
think
be
we
honest.
would. We got to think of a name for it. That's a job
Well,
for a later
The
date.
bar is taken.
Am I allowed to laugh?
You're allowed to laugh. But you're not allowed to talk.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay,
So
okay.
he goes to the bar and he
And
like
it is like the sun is out. It is 11 a.m.
Yeah,
no
Carrie
one
Coon-
else is in the bar.
she's
except for
opening
Carrie
up.
Coon.
So good sign for Ben Affleck right now.
He pulls up. He saddles up to the bar, and he's like, "I'm like a whiskey," and she is like, "My guy,
Bro,
what are we doing?"
what are we doing here?
And she's like, "All right." So she pours him a whiskey. She pours herself one. They start playing a board game, which is
Yeah.
the game Life, which is a
Good detail.
great metaphor for what happens throughout the rest of this movie.
It's a metaphor for life. Did
he's,
you ever
he's
play
not good at the game Life. That's the
Life?
whole thing.
I did not like the game Life.
Yeah, it was fine. It was like it felt too formulaic. Like, there's not enough chance or like excitement in the game.
No, I agree. I used to like board games where you have more control over the outcome, and it felt like life was one of those games where all you did was just like roll the dice and like whatever
You did
happened
whatever it
happened.
said.
It's like there's no strategy to it, but I guess that's kind of what life is. Anyway, okay.
We gotta move on.
We are
Are literally in the first 25 seconds of this
We're
movie.
fine, dude.
So she's like, "What's up? Like, what's wrong with you?" And he's like, "It's our anniversary." And she's like, "Ugh, I hate your wife." That's a big plot point. Is that Go hates Amy, his wife, played by Rosamund Pike.
No
And-
relation.
And she's like, "Oh, what did she do for the scavenger hunt this year?"
Yes.
And he's like, "I don't know, man. She's always making up these scavenger hunt for our anniversary, and it's like a test that I'm supposed to fail. Like, she knows I'm gonna fail it, and she's gonna be mad at me when I do. It's a lose-lose for Ben Affleck. He's having a bad time.
Yeah,
with
she
this.
does these tests to like, in his opinion, mock him. To be like, you should be, if you were a good husband, you know this stuff, but I know you don't, you dick. That's
Yes.
kind of what Ben Affleck's saying to Carrie Coon, but he's also like complaining to his sister, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's not saying this for public consumption, but we are consuming it because we're the audience, but we're getting kind of an unfiltered view because he doesn't know anything's gone wrong yet.
Well, and then he gets a call from his neighbor
Ring, ring.
who says, "Your cat is loose." And he's like, "Go, I gotta go take care of this." And she's like, "Okay,
He's
good
like,
luck."
go, I gotta go.
So he pulls out, he gets to the house, he captures the cat again. They go inside. The door is wide open.
Weird.
He walks in, he's like, Amy? And he looks around. The coffee table has been shattered. The glass coffee table
Yeah.
turned over, shattered.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is kind of normal though. And he's like looking around and he's like, where the heck is she? Eventually, he calls the police.
He calls the police because he's like, my wife's
She's
not
been
here.
kidnapped in his mind.
And there's a bunch of stuff going on. We get the lady cop who's awesome.
I don't know her name.
I don't know her name either, but she's great. Call her Lady Cop. Because then
Well, then there's Boy Cop,
Boy
who is
Cop.
played by Patrick Fugit of Almost Famous fame, but I do not know his name as a character either.
he's
But
actually
we'll call
famous.
him Boy Cop.
He's actually famous from Almost Famous. Thank you. But so they come into the house and Ben Affleck is like just doing a classic kind of Ben Affleck tired husband routine where he's like,
I don't know, man.
he's
She's
like,
just not
"Fuck, man,
here.
I don't know, man. It's our anniversary. I came home. I went to he's like, I own the bar with my cousin or my sister.
And they're like, the bar?
And like, I love that place, blah, 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 blah. But he's like, I just don't know. I thought it was weird. I'm trying to help you guys.
And the lady cop is like, you were at the bar earlier?
yeah. And she's also going around, she's putting Post-it notes
Yeah.
everywhere.
When
And Ben
there's little
Affleck's like,
splatters of blood
huh.
or like things just out of order.
yeah.
She notices that all the picture frames are stood upright on the mantle. Even though if the coffee table had been shattered and fallen like this, the picture for sure, what she does is like she jumps and the pictures fall. It's very cute.
Yeah.
But
it's also
so
classic David Fincher
she's
where he
doing
is
some
showing,
detective-ing.
he's not telling. It's like, if you were just listening to this movie, you would think Ben Affleck and the cop are having a normal conversation. Meanwhile, the cop's actions are already proving that she is suspicious of Ben Affleck.
sure.
So they walk around the house a little bit more.
and then they find clue number one.
Clue number one.
The envelope for the first part of the scavenger hunt. And they read the clue, and it's something about like my favorite little room for my favorite writer or teacher or something like that. Because he is an English professor or writing professor.
They were
at the
both
small
writers
college.
in New York. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, when do we do a flashback?
When we get to the diary, right?
Yeah. Okay. So
No, oh, because they don't find the diary until for a long
they
time.
don't. So at some point, intermixed are some flashbacks.
Yes.
We find out that Amy and Nick met at a party in New York City back in the day. And
He's smooth talking her.
he's so handsome. She's so beautiful. And they're like just chit-chatting away at this party.
It's such good banter.
And-
It's like the type of banter that, like, in movies, you're looking at it, you're like, no one talks like that, but you don't mind that much.
This is how people feel about you and me, Jasper.
Oh, is it?
I'm gonna throw up.
I hope the mic picked that up.
Oh yeah, no, she can do. But
Love
so
you
they,
guys.
they go down in this like old timey New Yorkie elevator that's like at this like it's like the freight elevator, and they're like talking to each other, and she does the chin thing, which is like, you have a menacing face. I don't trust your face, and then he says, it's my chin.
The chin dimple.
And so she puts two fingers up to Ben Affleck's chin, and they're right away. Like, without that little chin dimple, he looks much more nice and trustworthy.
And that's when she's like, he's like, I can't lie to you when I do this. Like,
Yeah.
that's like their like code signal that they
Yes.
do for each other. And they have like a very romantic courtship. Like
They kiss outside
they kiss
under the
outside.
sugar.
As it's dusting through the bakery.
Yes.
It's great. She is amazing, Amy,
Yes.
which is the equivalent of
Being
me
named Madeline?
being named Madeline and the Madeline books being a thing as a small child.
Absolutely.
Like Amazing Amy is
Except for her parents wrote the
the
Amazing
books.
Amy books.
And Amazing Amy is amazing. Like she's taking cello lessons. She has a dog, all these wonderful things.
Mhm.
And so Amy is like very much in the image of this character. And she resents this. She tells you Ben Affleck this.
Yes.
She gets everything that I don't have. Like we weren't allowed to get a dog, so Amazing Amy got a dog.
Right.
Like that's their relationship.
That's the vibe.
And eventually he's like, I love the real Amy. And they
Yeah.
get engaged.
They get engaged. She proposes to her at the anniversary party for the books, and he like interrupts a bunch of reporters asking very intrusive questions. Cut back to the present.
Right. I think that feels like the right spot. for
Yeah.
that.
Ben Affleck is in
He goes
the
to his
police
office.
HQ. No. He goes to his own office?
They don't take him in
Oh, he goes to office because he finds the
because they have the clue, and he's like, I don't know what this means, and he's like, I know what this means. I'm going to my office. That's for sure where she left something.
Yeah.
So he goes in. He finds clue number 2, but he also finds a pair of red panties
Ben.
just laying around the office.
No.
But at the same time, the lady cop and the boy cop are also going to his office. They're like,
They find him there.
we knew this was what was going to be.
So they're even less trusting of him now.
and the lady
you know?
cop gets the red undies, and she's like, these your wives? That's her
And
accent.
he's like yeah, absolutely. And Ben Affleck's like
He's like,
Sure,
sure.
man." And so he's like, whatever. And then he goes home to. Do they take him in now or no? Because when is he going
I
to carry
think he
Coons?
hides clue number 2 from them. They don't find clue number 2.
Yeah.
And or maybe they do, but it says something about like the next clue will be found at Mr. Brown's house
Wait,
or
can I
Mr.
cut?
Blue's house.
Cut.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So did they
Wait.
find
20 minutes and 52 seconds left.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Did they find clue number 2 upstairs and take
Clue
it?
number
No,
two
clue
is-
number 1
confused.
was upstairs in their house,
Yes. Clue
and
number
that led them
2
to the office.
Yeah, clue number
of-
2 is at his office at
school.
the school.
Okay, so clue number 2, but are you
And
guys
that's where the
there?
panties
Are
are.
you guys there yet?
We just got there.
We just
In
got
his
did it.
office at the school.
And they find the red
They had
panties,
left home. Okay.
and they find the clue number 2, and they read that one, and it. Oh, we're still.
We're not moving forward in the plot. Any other questions about what we've done so far?
Okay, so they why did they go to his office at school?
Because the clue number 1 is like we go. It basically
Okay.
is trying to lead to Ben Affleck's office. He pretends to be clueless in front of the cops, but he knows where he's going. He goes there. The cops see him there but it's also like guy's wife goes missing. You go check like all the places related to him. They were going to show up at his office eventually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
All right, 20 minutes, 52 seconds left. We should start making better time.
We're making time.
Okay.
Okay. So the next clue though is something can be found at Mr. Blue's house.
Yes.
Or the little blue house, something like that. And that's when Ben Affleck is really like, guys, I literally have no idea, no
Yeah.
clue. And so then he goes and he talks to Margot about this, and they're chit-chatting away. At this point, the public consciousness also starts to take root. Like,
Yes.
there's the crazy neighbor. I think her name is Nellie.
Nellie? That sounds right.
She's around. She's like, "Where's Amy?"
Yes. She's we're in Georgia, right?
Missouri.
Missouri. She's like, "Where's Amy? Amy and I were good friends."
And
Ben
Ben
Affleck's
Affleck's like,
like,
"I've never seen
I've
this.
never
lady
seen this
before."
girl before.
The
and
police are questioning her too.
police. So he goes into the police office. Amy's
Not
parents.
yet.
Yes, because Amy's parents show up and then they do the vigil.
That's later.
We're not even to the vigil.
No.
Okay, get us to the vigil. Then.
Okay. Okay, but so this is all kind of bubbling over. You're
Right.
starting to see it on television. He starts staying at Go's house because they need to look into the house that they
Yeah.
live in
Where do I
as a
take the
crime
picture?
scene. That's later too.
Okay, we're still really early in this movie.
Keep up. So that's the point where he goes to his dad's house in town,
Okay.
which is a
Oh.
little brown house. And he's looking around, and that's where he finds the diary. No, he does not find the diary.
No.
Scratch that. There he finds the next clue.
Next clue.
The next clue. And
Which
it's
is-
something about a shed, like
Yes.
where you hide stuff. And he tucks that away, and the cops pull up like immediately. Again, this is like a thing that keeps happening to him.
Mhm.
And they're like, dang, I thought this house was going to be blue, but it's brown.
Mm.
And he's like, yeah, not the clue. But they do some more investigating there. They find a cudgel
Mm-hmm.
that is bloody.
Mm-hmm.
And they also find Amy's diary in the furnace, and it has been like half burned.
Yes. And they also open up the shed, right? Or is that later?
That's later.
That's like,
Okay, so after that, though, that's when they really start to turn on him. And I think that is around the time they bring him in eventually.
So they bring him in for questioning. The parents show up. They're like, Ben, why didn't you call us? And Ben's like, I didn't know what was going on.
But also, Ben's dad has broken loose from his home. He's not well mentally.
Yeah.
And
Ben's dad is also in the police station.
He's also in the police station. So there's like really, it's chaos.
Lots of stuff going on.
And that is when the neighbor organizes a like search party situation, not a vigil.
Well, first they have a press conference where he's like,
Oh,
he's standing in front of the big wanted poster. This is like from the poster of the movie.
Yes.
He's standing in front of the wanted poster, and he's like, please, any information you could find for my wife. Him and the parents are doing it together. And then they take photos, and Ben Affleck does that classic Ben Affleck smile, and he does like a little like sheepish grin, and you're like, this fucking prick
and it
totally did it.
And Go is standing in the background watching, and she goes, God damn it.
Yeah, she's like,
she's so mad.
Because she knew he was going to
so
smile, because
screwing
he's
it.
the type of person that, like, when he sees a camera, he can't help but put a smile on, even if it's like a bad circumstance. This is context you get more from the book than the movie, but
Yeah, this is important.
but it's important. Okay, so then
the neighbor organizes a search party, and at said search party, we're not even getting to the point about it as affair. We're missing so much.
Oh, okay. So I think after that, he goes home.
Yes, it's after the press conference.
After the press conference, he goes to his sister's house.
Yes.
And this college student just comes up to the door. She's like, oh my God, Nick, I just had to see you. And she's like all over him. He's like, my sister's here. You can't do this.
Emily Ratajkowski playing the character named Andy. This is important for me that I get these names right.
Absolutely. And
but she's hysterical.
She's throwing herself at Ben. It's become very clear they're having an affair. It's becomes also clear that her panties are the ones at the office earlier.
Yes.
And also that Amy knew about it. And that's why she's mad at Ben.
I don't think it's clear at this point.
But that's why she pointed them.
But we don't know this yet.
Okay.
We do not know
right.
this yet.
Whatever.
Stop jumping ahead.
Okay, fine.
Anyway, he and Andy do the deed in his sister's house. Terrible.
So fucked up.
They fall asleep, and then she runs off in the morning, and Go is standing in the kitchen, and she is pissed. She's like, you're ruining your chances at this. We gotta hire you an attorney, and like, I'll mortgage the house. Like, we've got to get this fixed up. Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And so she kind of convinces him, but at that point, he like also goes to this neighborhood search party, and the people there are just like kind of obsessed with him. And like all these women are like taking pictures with him, and it's like giving this air that he's just a real asshole who does not care about his missing wife at all. Enter Tanner Bolt, as played by.
No.
What do you mean no?
No.
That's not when he comes in?
No.
What happens next?
The wife of the friend comes in, and she's like, because he's at the vigil, right?
He's hired the guy by the vigil.
No, he hasn't. They've seen him on TV. They see him on TV, and he goes, you need that guy. And he's like, I don't know if I need that guy. Then the vigil happens after the search party. Then...
from the crowd, the neighbor does yell.
The neighbor goes like...
Did you kill your wife, Ben? Not Ben,
No,
Nick.
and she's like, you didn't even know she was pregnant. And he goes, like, what the fuck are you talking about? He rushes off to the car, and at this point, he goes, I need a lawyer.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
And then he's getting mobbed by, like, television reporters and stuff.
Because this
like
is the
Caitlin
first time
House.
he's really behind. Like,
we got to get to the second half of this
we got to
movie.
get to the second half. So does anything happen before we get to the twist?
No, but I do want to reiterate for the audience,
Yeah.
Tanner Bolt, as played by Tyler Perry.
We will get to Tyler Perry.
But that's who we're talking about here.
Yes.
Now, all of a sudden, you're rocking and rolling in this movie.
Okay, you're gonna do it?
And you switch perspectives so hard to Amy Dunn driving a ratty ass car
Ugh.
through the backwoods streets of Missouri, I guess. Like, she's just
Well,
out
she's on like
the
the
road.
highway at first. She's like alone on the highway, and she's hair's flowing in the distance, and it's playing a monologue. Is playing.
And I guess we should also say the last entry, like right before you switch to this, the police are reading her diary entries, I think to Nick, and the last one says, "This man of mine may kill me."
Yes.
And then you switch to her, just absolutely free as a bird, hair blowing through the breeze, and she then takes over the voiceover too for the rest of, I guess, the rest of.
For the
Whenever
rest of when she's on screen, she's doing a voiceover that's like her diary continued. Because
Yes.
at first her diary's in the flashbacks, and then we catch up to the present, and then she's in the present doing her voice. Do you
And
want
this
to
is
do the
where-
voiceover? Because you talked about doing the voiceover for like.
No, I'm not
once.
confident enough that I could do it.
All right,
but
we'll try it out later.
But she does kind of tell you exactly where she started all this planning at this point. She tells you that she did not want to move to Missouri, that she had started dating this guy who she thought was going to rescue her from her dull, boring life by being just a really handsome, wonderful man, and that
Who
he
could
wanted
relate?
cool girl. And she was playing the cool girl in the earliest parts of their relationship. So she was kind of doing everything right,
Yeah,
being really fun,
yeah.
watching games, eating wings.
Giving blowjobs.
Absolutely. And
I didn't just say that. That's in the movie.
it's in the movie. And then it's the recession hits, obviously.
Yes, the recession
2008.
hits. They go down to Missouri to care
No.
for Nick's dad. No.
No. They are both writers. They both lose their jobs.
Oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
start borrowing from her trust because she has a trust fund from her parents having written these books, rather. And he's spending money, like
Mhm.
he's buying stuff. And in the meantime, her parents are also losing their income. And she's like, I need to borrow against this, help my parents. And he's like, absolutely not. This is crazy. They get in a big fight about money. And he's like, and my mom is dying.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to move to Missouri to take care of his mother.
Yes.
And in the course of the time that they've moved to Missouri, she's miserable.
Yeah.
She talks about it in her diary. She's like,
Cut.
She's
12 minutes and 28 seconds left. We really got to get a move on.
She's Missouriable. Yeah.
Good.
nailed
Good.
it.
We're
Nailed
good.
it.
No, that's good stuff.
Okay.
She's miserable in Missouri.
She's
yeah.
Missouri. Was it
Missouriable?
excellent stuff?
Missouriable.
Really, really good. We
Thanks,
needed
guys. Thanks, guys.
that. I'm getting stressed out because I think we have a lot.
We have a
of
lot
stuff
to
go,
cover.
and I really think we can move a little bit faster.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Any-
So that was
any
a
other-
welcome cut.
And excellent stuff. You have one more left. Anything else you want to clarify while we're here?
No, I think.
We're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're.
Okay.
It was a cut for a pun,
It was a
and I
cut
think
for a
we're
pun.
using puns
I think
correctly.
that's worth it.
Yeah. Okay. 12 minutes, 28 seconds left. We should just go to
Okay,
where
I'll
she
cook.
is.
I'll
Yeah,
cook.
all right.
Okay, so she's on the road. She's explained her plot of why she's out of this. She goes to this rinky-dink little motel
Well, she explains she faked her own murder.
and also pregnancy.
Yeah.
She stole her neighbor's pee.
Yeah. She stole her neighbor's pee who's pregnant. She went
She
through the
bled
house.
through
She
the
bled
floor.
to the floor. She hit her own head. She did all these things all to frame Ben Affleck, who she is so mad at because he traded her in for a younger model
And
and
this
all this
also
kind of stuff.
includes having written years worth of diary entries with
Absolutely.
different gel pens. She
Yes.
dyes her hair on the road. She starts eating junk food, so she gains all this weight.
Yeah.
It's been days, and she looks like a different person.
Yeah.
And she comes to this motel.
Mhm.
She's hiding out. She's giving herself a black eye. She's crazy. And she meets Lola Kirk. I don't know what her character's name
I
is.
don't even know who Lowell Kirk is.
Can't explain this to you. We don't have time. And she's white trash at this motel.
Yeah.
She's proper white trash, not whatever Amy Dunn is pretending to be. This girl's down bad. And this girl and her buddy, they realize that Amy Dunn has a lot of cash on her. And
Yeah.
and they're getting they catch a plan and they rob her.
Yeah.
And then at that point she's like, oh my God, what do I do? I've got to pivot here. And at this point, she's also seeing Nick on TV.
Yeah. So I think we cut back.
Yeah.
Nick has now hired
Tanner Bolt.
Tanner Bolt. Tyler Perry is so good.
So good.
In this movie. He's one of the very
This is
rare
incredible.
appearances of Tyler Perry in a non-Tyler Perry vehicle that I think is a testament to that this man
it's so good that
is
he has to be in it.
good and smart, and we should respect him even though he makes dumb movies.
Yeah, come on. Move
I'm just
on.
talking about Tyler Perry. So Tyler Perry starts to media train Ben Affleck, and he's basically saying you need to start going on the offensive. You need to start prepping your defense now. So he's no longer cooperating with the police. He's just going through Tanner Bolt. He's doing interviews on TV talking about where's Amy? Does the interview now?
He's admitting that he has made mistakes and
Yeah.
and he's not been the perfect husband, but he didn't kill her. He loved her. He didn't know she was pregnant.
I think this is also where we get the police finding all of the stuff.
Yes.
So part of Amy's plan was to put Ben Affleck into a parent credit card debt, and Ben Affleck's like, I never bought any of this shit, and then it's all in his dad's shed,
No,
right?
Margot's shed.
Margot's shed.
And that's why the clue says something about a shed, the last
Yeah.
clue, and sends him to the shed at Margot's house, and Margot gets arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And so that he doesn't even get arrested. Margot gets arrested.
Margot gets arrested?
I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
Kate's nodding. Okay, I don't remember that, but yeah, go ahead. It's your episode.
I feel like that's right because I think that's why he's so upset.
Yeah.
I think they bail her out. You know, it's fine. Carrie Coon, you'll be fine. She's on White Lotus now. Will she end up dead at the end of the season? Who can say? Mike White can say. I'm losing my plot.
Okay.
So they find all this stuff. He's on TV. She, in the meantime, is like, I gotta come up with a new idea.
Ben Affleck is also, Tyler Perry's like, we need a new suspect. What's going on? So Ben Affleck flies to New York.
Yes.
And he meets with Amy's ex-boyfriend, who is describing a very similar situation in which Amy frames this guy for like attempted rape. And
he went to jail.
He goes to jail and is now like a registered sex offender, all because Amy was like mad at him. Not cool, Amy.
No.
Not cool at all. This is why Rosamund Pike and I no relation. And so then he's like, okay, let's talk to the other ex-boyfriends of
Desi,
Amy. And he goes
as
to
played
Desi.
by Neil Patrick Harris.
And Neil Patrick Harris is like, no, Amy was great.
Amy was perfect.
I love Amy. And he's like, oh, nothing's weird.
And Neil Patrick Harris is rich. Like, he lives in St. Louis and he has a mansion. That's what we learned from this Nick visit. Nick goes home, and in the meantime, Amy is like, okay,
I need a new plan.
I'm going to find Desi.
Well, because her original plan was to kill herself.
Yes, like ultimately
to kill herself, but she needs to like find new time.
The best part of this movie is actually the calendar that has many post-it notes on it that say "kill self?" ?
Because like her whole original plan has to like crescendo with like them finding her dead body, blaming
and that's
Nick
what he's
for it,
done.
And then he is done for.
And they do have the death penalty in Missouri. They say that multiple times.
They mention that a lot. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so then Ben Affleck goes to Neil Patrick Harris, dead end. He goes back. He has to do a big TV interview.
And in the meantime, we've got to get Rosamund Pike. You keep forgetting that to move her plot along as well. She calls Desi, gets him on the phone. They meet up, and he's like, "Oh, you poor thing. You're so ugly now." And he takes her to this lake house mansion where he has all this security, and he's like, "You'll be safe here. Don't worry. We'll get you back to a size 0 in no time." And so Kate flipped the bird. It's great.
Good stuff.
So true. And so he's being really controlling with her already, and you can tell like this is not her plan. She did not want to leave a controlling situation. Although I don't think she really.
I don't think.
But she did not want to be in this.
I think she's sitting here and she's like, I didn't know. She's like. She thought she was just going to, like, use Desi the way she's used everybody else so far. And then Desi's, like, actually has all of the power. And she's like, I don't like this.
They sit together and watch
the
Ben
interview.
Affleck's
This is why I needed to set up the interview before we got to go to Desi's.
His affair has also been publicized at this point.
Yes.
Like, Andy has come forward in a fuck-ass cardigan and been like, schoolgirl church mouse and been like, I was a misguided 20-year-old and my professor took advantage of me.
Who didn't fuck their professors in college, you know?
This girl sucks. Like, Go hates everybody. She's so pissed the whole movie. I love her so much. And so that's been brought to light. So he has to go address that on this interview. He has to like, he sends a message to Amy. He like looks to camera and covers his chin and is like, come home, Amy. Yeah,
and he like admits to his faults. And Tyler Perry
it's pretty subtle.
Tyler Perry does this great scene before the interview though, where Ben Affleck they're prepping him, they're giving him questions, and then every time Ben Affleck fucks up, he throws like an M&M at him.
Yes.
And he like keeps doing that to like
That's what we did in High School Speech and Debate.
Did you?
Yeah.
We should talk about that. We don't have enough time.
Anyway.
Through pens, it's dangerous.
It was.
Did you ever get like ink on you?
No, but we can't. We don't have enough time. We have 5 minutes left.
Yeah, we're wasting ink. Okay, so so he does the interview. Amy sees it. Amy's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Like
she's like, "Oh, I've made a huge mistake."
So she makes a whole new plan.
She's crazy, guys.
So she now. Do you want to do it?
Yeah. So she basically she sets up. She knows where all the cameras are at this point. She knows the angles, and so she makes it look like she has been raped by Neil Patrick Harris and is being held captive.
Yes.
As in all of the footage at
she
this
like
point.
Forces herself onto her.
She like it's quite graphic.
And then she like
she
bloodies
like ties
herself
stuff up around her. It's really disturbing stuff.
And then she goes to the camera that's right next to the window and she slams herself on the window. She screams, "Ah!"
Yeah, it's
and then she takes like a bloody hand and like goes down the windowsill. It's like fucking cool but crazy. And you're like, this is
David Fincher's back.
No, this is when Fincher's going full Fincher. It's really, really good stuff.
And so she does that. She kind of sets that up, and then she Desi comes home and she's in lingerie.
Yeah.
She's so beautiful. And she's like, I think it's time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm ready or whatever. And
Desi is psyched. He's like, this is what he's been waiting for years and years and years and years because he's so in love with Amy.
and they get into bed
Uh-huh.
and, you know, I don't even remember. I mean, the logistics of it are,
We don't need to get into the specifics.
but the main thing is she slits his throat.
Absolutely.
And he's above her. So she slits it and she gets
Blood
covered in blood.
everywhere.
and she's wearing this white nightie and it's just soaked through with blood. And it's so dramatic. And then she like hobbles over to she makes it further look like she was
Yeah, she's
taken
really putting on a
advantage of.
show
It's
for the
pretty bad.
cameras.
And she puts on a big show for the cameras and she gets in the car and she drives home to Nick and she pulls up and all the camera crews are outside the house already.
Yeah, because they're all sitting there for Nick. 'Cause he's still like suspect number one. This is like we haven't really
We don't-
talked
yeah,
about it.
they
Like
don't
the
know what's going
media
on.
is all over this story. There's like a whole Nancy Grace fill-in person who's like, Nick Dunn, like fucking wife killer. I hate you all the time on like what is supposed to be CNN or whatever. Or
Yeah.
the other one with the yellow logo. And then so there's all these news cameras out, and then Amy shows up, bloody
Bloody.
as hell, and Ben Affleck's like, what?
And she falls into his arms and he's like, you fucking bitch. And
Ugh.
he throws her down and he dips her and he kisses her. And then they go inside and he's like, what the hell was all that about?
Yeah. And she's like, I'm so excited to be home. Like she's still putting on like the
It's
facade.
crazy. And she's like, well, here's what happened. And so they take her to the hospital and the police start questioning her and she's like, he kidnapped me and
Mhm.
and yada, and they're like, but what about X, Y, and Z? And the FBI is like, it's fine.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm too ill to talk about this. Boy cop and lady cop are like, this is not adding up. They have also at earlier point in the movie, if this is on the Wikipedia, it might be in the wrong place, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Go
They
for
have
it.
suspected the homeless population of the town that they were
Oh,
in as
yeah.
maybe killing her. We also know that she did buy a gun.
She
at
bought
one
a gun
point.
at like the weird abandoned
Oh,
mall.
It was on Valentine's Day because on her Valentine's Day entry in her journal, she says, for Valentine's Day, I thought I'd buy a gun.
Excellent stuff. That's a good impression.
Thank you.
2 minutes, 20 seconds left.
Okay, so she's becoming well again. Everything's kind of tidying up. She's lost, quote unquote, the baby that she had. They take a shower together so they can prove to each other they're not wearing wires.
Yes.
And they have a real frank conversation about
Mhm.
everything. And she's like, I had to make it look like this, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, but we can move forward now. That man on television, that's the man that I married. That's the man I
And Ben
want.
Affleck is like, we're going to wait an appropriate amount of time, and then I'm divorcing
Divorcing
your
you.
ass. You're done, Amy. And Amy's like, fuck, that's not what I wanted.
And
Should have killed myself.
And then what happens next?
And then it's like,
Oh, they have the reporter come to the house.
so they have Tyler Perry arranges for the reporter to come to the house to interview. This is where the Nancy Grace person comes back.
Yes.
And she's like, she's been talking absolute shit about Ben Affleck the whole
She
time.
has.
And
She's
she
been
rolls
very
up and she's like, no hard feelings. And Ben Affleck's like, some hard feelings. You know what I mean? I got some hard feelings. 1 minute, 20 seconds. Then they do this interview where Amy announces
that they are pregnant.
that she is pregnant and they're expecting a kid. And she is tying Ben Affleck. And then Ben Affleck is like,
He really wanted a kid like a year ago. And
Yes.
he's like, a year ago, this would have been a dream for me. And now it's a nightmare. I'm trapped.
yeah, he's trapped again.
And Go is like, please leave her. She's crying at one point when they're alone. And he's like, I can't let a child be raised by this monster alone.
Yeah.
And Margot's like, we'll never speak to each other again. It's very sad.
Yeah, 48 seconds left. That's basically it. Ends on the like, and then they do the monologue again where it's like, who did I marry? I look at her
she,
eyes.
Like, flips her hair and like looks back at him.
Ooh,
And
do that again.
there's no camera here.
Okay, guys, come on.
and he's like, I don't know, but I guess this is the man I chose. I think that's what she says. Something
Yeah.
like it's
So no, it goes. Sometimes I look into my eyes, like, who is this? Who is this girl? Like, who did we marry? What have we done to each other?
what have we done to each other?
Is how it ends. Okay,
Marriage on the rocks.
Marriage on the Rocks week. That's this week. 10 seconds.
I think that's
I
it.
think that's it. I think we got everything.
I feel better about this than Trap.
You felt good about Trap when we did it, though. All right. Excellent job.
Yeah.
Kate, your impressions of Gone Girl as told by Madeline and JP?
Is it as
Closer
you
to the mic.
remember?
Yes. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I think there was a little bit of too much time in the front half.
So true.
Which
Mm.
I am.
You enjoyed it, though, right?
Of course, I
We
did.
happy birthday
and
signed
I'm
it.
so familiar with that because listen, that's,
We did happy birthday.
That's what
sign.
I
A
do
big
every
ass
time,
H.
That's what I do every single time. But I thought you got a lot of like little details that were good and important.
I hope they're in there. You know,
That's
the
was
thing.
look
You were typing.
check me. I was typing.
No, Kate has some details. Kate has, let's see which one.
3 pages.
3 pages of notes.
Jeez.
This is good stuff. And you can, little plug, as always, see what Kate created, or what Madeline created and Kate typed down on Instagram right now, if you want to look at it.
Oh yeah.
Please do.
So, Madeline, your thoughts on the film Gone Girl?
I love this movie. This came out when I was in college, and the book, I had read it in high school, and it was just such a part of the culture
Yes.
at that time too, especially like I was a 20-year-old angsty, as I mentioned before, girl.
Mm.
And this really just nailed something. I was like, yeah, Ben Affleck sucks.
I like Ben Affleck.
Oh, he's great. in this.
I
But
actually agree. I think this movie like shifted how I think about Ben Affleck.
I
Yeah.
think it probably
It's a
did.
very self-aware move. Well, the thing about Ben Affleck is the more I've learned and kind of read him talking or whatever, he's very smart and well-spoken, but he just has like an inner, like, he can't help himself. Like, he's going to get a
Yeah.
crazy back tattoo and stare longingly at the ocean. You know what I mean?
Does he have a crazy back
Did
tattoo?
you not
my
seen that
God.
picture?
We've
No.
got it.
You
We'll
should
show
Google,
you.
What the
Google
hell are
right
you
now
talking
Ben Affleck back tattoo,
Oh,
and
it's
just I want to
crazy.
record your reaction live to seeing it for the first time.
Tattoo. Okay. Oh my god! What the fuck is that? Whoa!
Yeah.
No, what the hell? What is that? Is that a phoenix?
Yeah.
Wait, Elon.
Elon, go Phoenix, rising from the ashes.
Rising from the ashes. Go Phoenix.
But I do think so. David Fincher has spoken like glowingly about working with Ben Affleck,
I
and the
think
two of them really
he's
like
great.
each other. And I really liked Air, and I like Argo, and I like The
you
Town.
Liked Air.
I love Air.
I didn't like
Jesus.
Air.
Well, because you guys, Air's a boy movie.
I was
Is
that
it about
to-
like shoes?
Yeah, it's about the Jordan. See, like the thing
Yeah,
about it is like
okay.
you guys didn't grow up in like a world that like reveled Jordan.
You can't tell, but I'm rolling my eyes so far back
Okay.
into my head.
No,
All right, I'm
Geneva,
just-
Illinois didn't really.
But I really love The Town.
Have that.
I love Good Will Hunting.
Good Will
And I think
Hunting?
it's really, I have a lot of affection for the Matt and Ben pairing.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
wrote that movie together.
Wow.
And they won an Oscar
Oh.
for having written the movie.
Oh, they
So,
did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And it was
Jesus.
their first film. Like, those
It's
guys
a-
are absolute stars.
Mm.
Yeah. I think this movie's great. I think it is one of the rare book adaptations that
Oh, yeah.
does just enough different to where the two of them stand on its own, but it's also very good in a way that like you can't just walk out of the theater and go like the book was better and like say that's like your critique.
Yeah.
I agree. It's
The
one
book
of those,
is different, but the book is good, the movie's good, they're both good.
Yeah, it's one of those rare situations, kind of like The Devil Wears Prada, where I think.
Yeah.
Oh wait, actually no. Backtrack. Blah 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 blah. Because I think The Devil Wears
Mm-hmm.
Prada movie is actually better than the book. This is the situation where I do think they're equal. And I think I don't like to watch a movie that's based on a book without
Having read it.
having read
I
the
agree.
book, unless I like didn't know about it first.
I
but
think this one would have been interesting to have watched without having read the book. I think the payoff would have been amazing if you hadn't read the book first.
When I read the
I
book
mean, I
and the
think that
twist
would
first
be-
happens, like we
It's
like gloss over
mind-blowing.
it. It's crazy because
crazy.
it's like it reads. I think this is what Gillian Flynn is like. Gillian Flynn
Jillian.
is really good at is it reads like a trashy airport book, and the first half of
Yeah.
it feels like a trashy airport book,
Mhm.
and everyone is like, wait for it. And then once the twist happens, you're like, oh, and then it's like
just
it's just like
cooks.
it's still a trashy airport book, but it's like the absolute pinnacle of what that book could be. It's so readable and it's just such a page turner. And once you hit that twist, you have no clue what's gonna happen next. And like the Desi stuff happens, you're like, that's crazy.
And it is I mean, even when we were watching it this time, I've seen that movie so many times at this point. Like
Yeah.
it's got to be up there with one of my most rewatched films.
Mm.
And when we were watching it this time, we both gasped when Desi was killed. Like
Yeah.
we both like audibly were like, like it's just so
It's
gross
shocking.
and it's so shocking. And I think this is one of the few like movies of this ilk that is really rewatchable. Like it's
Yeah.
actually rewarding and fun to rewatch it
Yeah.
as opposed to like, oh, I've seen it. I know how that
Well,
ends.
because it's not. It's sad and dark, but it's not so sad and dark that it doesn't have like moments of levity. Like it is funny.
The pregnant neighbor
Yeah, there's
is
like,
hilarious.
and it's very self-aware of what it's doing. Okay, we are going to get into the actual plot of Gone Girl. Are you guys ready?
Yeah. I'm born
Okay.
for this.
Ooh, that's too bad.
Oh, I forgot that we did this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you, dude.
Live on air.
Live on
Wow.
air. On their 5th wedding anniversary, writing teacher Nick Dunn returns home to find his wife Amy missing. Amy's fame as the inspiration for her parents' successful Amazing Amy children's book ensures widespread press coverage. The media finds Nick's apathy towards the disappearance suspicious. So that was like what we did.
Yeah, we did that in 20 minutes.
In a lot of detail.
Yeah.
They just have to, but that paragraph's kind of boring.
Yeah.
We made it more fun.
Flashbacks in the form of diary entries show a complex reality and a deteriorating marriage. Amazing Amy was an idealized completion of the real Amy's failures. Both Nick and Amy lost their jobs in the recession, nicely done, and moved from New York to Nick's hometown of North Carthage, Missouri,
Wish I had
nicely
gotten
done,
the name, though.
to support his dying mother, nicely done.
Killing it.
Awesome.
Nick grew distant from Amy and began an affair with Andy, nicely done,
Yeah, we got
one
that.
of his students, while Amy became resentful towards Nick for uprooting her. Got that. Detective Rhonda Boney,
God, I was not going to get
Rhonda
Rhonda.
she's
Boney.
Rhonda Boney,
That's the lady.
this fall on
Lady Cop.
CBS.
Jeez.
And
What
the
a
forensics team find poorly concealed evidence of a struggle and profound blood loss around the house. Boney learns of financial issues, spousal disputes, and Amy's recent attempt to buy a gun. Medical reports indicate Amy was pregnant, which Nick denies knowledge of. On every wedding anniversary, Amy has set up an elaborate treasure hunt for Nick. This year's clues appear in places where Nick has had sex with Andy, thus revealing Amy's knowledge of the affair. This was the
Dang.
office panties.
You
We
were right
kind of got
about
that.
this.
Yeah. Thank you. It's nice to hear.
I forgot that they had sex in the shed because Mario was like, "Really? In my shed?"
Yeah.
Oh,
That's-
yes.
I forgot
Really?
about that.
It's-
Honestly, he's taking advantage of his sister the whole time. Like, she has a right to be angry.
She should be pissed. First off, the other part that's not mentioned here is like they took out their leverage on the bar, which it's so clear that Go is
running the
doing the
bar.
work on,
Yeah.
and Ben Affleck's just kind of being a lazy piece of shit.
He's just drinking for free.
And it's like they're not making a ton of money. They need Amy's family's money to like live down here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, where did I get Nick discovers thousands of dollars of items purchased with his credit card hidden in his twin sister Margot's woodshed. Got that. Amy's clues lead authorities to a half-burned diary documenting her growing dread of Nick and ending with a genuine fear that this man will kill me.
Hey, I'm so glad I got that in there.
I know that's the line. It's not what it says on Wikipedia. It's
Oh.
revealed that Amy is alive and hiding in a campground in the Ozarks. After discovering Nick's affair,
Ozarks.
Amy conceived of an elaborate plan to frame him for her murder. She had him ramp up her life insurance and secretly
Ah, I
use his
forgot about
credit
the
card
life
to buy
insurance.
woodsheds. If you're gonna
Dang
kill,
Oh, because he just like signed.
Yeah, he's like, she just put it in front of me and I
just, like,
signed
signed
it.
the
And it was like
document.
$2 million or
to
something.
be honest though, like
Dang.
I will say this to you, Madeline. Please don't plan my murder. If you put a document in front of me, I'll just sign it. I don't
Oh,
care.
we know.
Yeah,
Kate and I know that.
I do.
She had him rent up life insurance. She befriended a pregnant neighbor, told her stories about Nick's temper, and stole her urine to fake a pregnancy.
I think I said that.
You did.
You did say that. Yeah.
Thus eliciting media sympathy after her disappearance. She wrote a diary with increasingly fabricated entries and placed incriminating evidence in the treasure hunt spots for the police to find.
Yeah.
Got that. On the morning of her disappearance, Amy drained and splattered her own blood across the kitchen and then cleaned it haphazardly. Her original plan was to drown herself after Nick's arrest and have her body found to ensure his death sentence. Fucking brutal.
Honestly, yeah. She's good though. Like,
You know what I mean?
she almost had him.
This
She
is
had
a
him on
long
the ropes.
recap. Okay, here we go.
Well, this is like a complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot
I know,
going on.
Madeline
There's
crushed it.
flashbacks,
Yeah.
you know?
Nick
yeah.
deduces Amy's scheme, convinces Margot of his innocence, and hires lawyer Tanner Bolt. Excellent. Known for representing, known for representing bad people is a fancy word here. I'm not going to try. Nick meets two of Amy's ex-boyfriends. Tommy O'Hara claims he was framed for rape by her after he ended their
Yep.
relationship. Wealthy Desi Collings, Desi got that,
Yep.
against whom Amy had filed a restraining order for stalking, turned Nick's away. We didn't get the restraining order, but
forgot
she
about the
does
restraining
file a
order.
restraining order against Neil
Dang.
Patrick Harris. 'Cause,
Who amongst us?
not me. I need more Neil Patrick Harris in my life.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
He's so creepy in this.
Barney
just
Stinson.
the same way he is in Barney Simpson. Yeah.
I think it's a nice duality because it's like
It
Barney
is.
Stinson's like the fun sitcom version of this,
I
and
wonder-
Desi's like it's David
that's gotta be
Fincher's
planned.
very aware.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the Ben Affleck thing. He's very aware of who these people represent in popular culture.
Well, and also Amy Dunn being played by Rosamund Pike, she's Jane
No relation.
in
She's Jane.
she's Jane in Pride and Prejudice. This like really docile,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
affectionate, feminine
But she's
girly
played
pop.
a lot more like fucked
She
up
has, but
characters
that's all been
recently.
after.
Yeah.
I
Gone
do
Girl.
Like,
She
think the
didn't take
thing
that
with
turn.
Rosamund Pike is she has tried to do more Amy's just around her
Yeah.
career, and she's just done worse versions of this movie.
Yeah.
She's
I
so
really
talented.
care
She's
though.
so
about
good.
you. What
Yeah,
is
like
that?
I care a lot.
Yeah, that's not.
And she's like in what's the movie?
Oh,
Saltburn. Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, I
Terribly.
I did not.
That's
watch
another
that.
movie.
tomato,
Similar
tomato.
to Amelia Perez, You Could Not Pay Me to Watch Saltburn. When Amory's campground neighbors rob her, she calls Desi for help, convincing him that she fled Nick's abuse. Desi agrees to hide her in his lake house. Bolt convinces Nick to reveal his affair on a popular talk show, thus seizing the narrative from the media.
Yeah.
Andy reveals the affair at a press conference shortly before the show.
Does it say something about the cardigan in there?
No, it doesn't.
Fuck ass cardigan.
The fuck ass cardigan, exactly right. But Nick insists on conducting the interview anyway. He affirms his innocence and feigns regret for his shortcomings as a spouse, knowing that Amy will be watching, because he's like, I'm doing a performance for just one person.
Yeah.
The interview is a success, garnering widespread sympathy for Nick. However, the detective has already gathered enough murder evidence and arrests Nick and Margot. Bolt
Dang.
bails them out, and they brace for the impending trial. After watching Nick's interview, Amy rekindles her attraction for him and spends weeks crafting her escape story. Using lake house surveillance cameras and a self-inflicted wrist and vaginal injuries, she makes
I
it...
glossed over that, but
Wrist
that's
and
what I meant.
vaginal
She sticks a
injuries?
wine bottle.
Yeah.
Does she?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like...
That's why I just like didn't feel like we needed to go into that.
Whoa.
It's
amount
one of those
detail.
where you're just kind of like squirming on
yeah,
the
you're
couch.
like,
like,
I can't watch this.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
She makes it appear that Desi kidnapped and raped her. She then seduces Desi, slits his throat during sex, and returns home to covered in his blood, thus clearing Nick of suspicion.
Don't you love doing that? I love doing that.
I mean,
Slitting
it
men's-
is.
men's
It
throat
looks
during sex?
crazy.
Shout out Gerald.
Sorry, Gerald. I would never.
Sorry, Gerald. Medical examiners lend credence to Amy's story. During questioning, the detective probes her inconsistencies, but Amy spins to focus on to the detective and calling her incompetent. The FBI believes Amy and closes the case.
I told you
mentioned that. But the detective knows that Amy's guilty.
See,
Upon returning home, Amy tells Nick the truth, admitting to Desi's murder. She states that Nick, pleading for her to return on TV, was what inspired her to come home, and she wants to ask for his forgiveness. Nick shares this with the detective and with Go
I
and
forgot about
Tanner
that.
Bolt, despite unanimously agreeing that Amy is fucking crazy, or as Wikipedia says, guilty. Everyone acknowledged that there's a lack of evidence. Tanner Bolt wishes Nick well and returns to New York. A televised interview takes place at their home 7 weeks later, anticipating Nick's intention to leave her and publicly expose her story. Amy reveals her pregnancy minutes before the interview, having inseminated herself with Nick's sperm from a fertility
I
clinic.
forgot about
did
that
that.
part. Yeah,
That's
I was like, how is she
diabolical.
pregnant? That makes a lot of sense.
Nick reacts violently at first, but feels responsibility for the child, and ultimately decides to stay with Amy despite Margot's despair.
Hey, I got that.
Excellent. The happy, in quotation marks, couple announces on television that they're expecting a child, and that is the plot of Gone Girl. I think you did really well.
I thought you did really
I
good.
think I did.
There
That-
are a lot of details in this movie that are so like niche and specific.
yeah.
Well, because like you're following like a alleged murder plot or something, right?
Right.
So there are a lot of details
Yeah.
when someone murders someone or whenever someone
The
dies.
life insurance.
So there's just the life
Life
insurance.
insurance
thing,
is
that's
crazy.
Bothered me.
Well, because he's like playing video games, and she's like, just sign this. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
classic
She's
deadbeat
playing a lot
husband.
of video games.
She was the cool girl.
Anything else you want to say about Gone Girl?
I'm just curious if Gillian Flynn's gonna like write something else.
So
because-
I figured this out. She is now mostly working on movies and TV adaptations of her old books. But she's only actually written 3 books, and she's
Yeah.
developing a miniseries with
Sharp
HBO based on
Objects.
something else. But she
Did
hasn't
Sharp
written a book
Objects-
since Gone Girl, which is kind of crazy
That's
for someone
crazy.
that's successful.
yeah,
Have you-
Sharp
Sharp
Objects
Objects
with
is
Amy
great.
Amy Adams.
Yep.
Queen.
Is
So
amazing.
good.
Fucked up little movie. But her other book, which is called Dark Places.
Places.
Oh, I read that one too.
That's a fucked book.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a dark
For
one.
sure.
We're running along. I'm going to wrap this up.
Sorry.
We're going to end this episode the way we end every episode. Does anyone have anything they want to plug?
I do because I heard a lot about this lack of plugging for my first season episode.
Did you plug anything?
I think I plugged a movie that I liked.
Oh, sure.
But what I really should have plugged, and I'm sure I will plug here, is my brother's band.
Aw.
Yes, he is in a band called Whitehall. You can find him wherever you're listening to this podcast, I would say.
They also have a show.
They have a show in New York City Deep Bushwick
New York
in
City.
April 17th, I believe.
April 17th. I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll
I'll
there.
probably be there.
Yeah.
Kate might be there.
We're gonna
Adam
take
will
a field
definitely be
trip.
there. We're going
It'll
to take
be
a
so
field trip to
fun.
Deep Bushwick.
Yes, it'll be really fun. They're great. They are like an indie pop rock setup. I guess is how I would sell it. But
Yeah.
I love them. They've been together for like 10 years, and they sound great. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Cute.
Hell yeah.
And
Kate,
they've
what
got
are you
new music
plugging?
coming out too.
What am I plugging?
Yeah.
You brought up Bradley Jackson, so I'm gonna plug the morning show.
Fuck me. We'll do, at another point in time in this podcast, there'll be a deep discussion
This
about
is
the
a
morning
light
show.
plug.
You guys are gonna do a morning show out.
So it'll happen later. What am I plugging?
Just having a good day.
I'm
Hope
having
you guys have a good day.
I'm plugging, like it was really dark and dreary yesterday, and the sun's out right now, and I think that's awesome. So shout out the sun. Shout out the Beatles for the song "Here Comes the Song," even though Madeline doesn't like the Beatles.
We're not gonna get into it.
What?
We're not gonna talk
Any
about
of
it.
it? Any of it?
We can't talk
All
about
right.
it.
And that's it. We will see you on Thursday for The Abyss. Oh yeah. It's credits time. I love credits time because I can say whatever the hell I want. No one's listening. Pigs. Australia. G'day, mate. See? Doesn't matter. If you want to see the recap, you can head to Instagram.com. So just type in Google Chrome, and then once you get to Google, type in Instagram.com. And then you'll see the full recap of what Madeline and I came up with and Kate so dutifully typed out. On Sunday, you'll also see the leaderboard that'll have Madeline's score. So that's cool. Ross did the artwork, Chase did the music. My name is Jasper. Thanks for listening.